How's it going, everybody? This evening we got a special guest, Mr. M. Oden from The Embrace. How you doing, buddy?
What up? Doing well. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Or our pleasure. Typically my wife would be here, but life has been crazy and she's out and about at the moment still. But if
All
she
good.
if she can join us before the end, she will. So that's where we're at there. So you're
Sounds like
the
a plan.
you're the creator of the book The Embrace, right?
Yes, I am the writer and main creator. Dean James is my co-creator, and he's the artist on the book as well. Um, but yeah, came up with the idea of the Embrace back in 2021, like a 2020, 2021 time frame. At the time, I was going through some pretty rough stuff, custody fight, and a whole bunch of other things.
Yeah.
And so I kind of took a lot of the hopelessness that I was feeling from that situation and channeled it into this project. And so The Embrace is obviously a story about this guy, Clarence Griffin, who's a father whose son, David, was murdered like a year prior to the events of the story. And in that past year, there hasn't been a lot of momentum on his son's case. And so the Alexandria Police Department has decided to drop it. And so in a response and an act of desperation, Clarence is about to take his own life when the ghost of his son, David, shows up and stops him. And in their embrace, Clarence is given this vision of what happened that night through the eyes of his kid. And when he comes to, he's in a super suit powered by his son's ghost. So together they're going out after his son's killers to bring them to justice. You are muted, good sir.
Sorry. And I just said that's cool. And also in a way, the idea of like being gifted a vision is like being given clarity. And
Yeah.
since he was in mourning, it's like a powerful, it's all very synergistic, very good.
100%. I think that's like one of the big things about this book is it kind of hits on these themes of fatherhood and loss. And Clarence is, in a way, David coming back is a way to help him process through the stages of grief, because he's just been stuck in the initial stages for so long and there's been no momentum forward and he's just been stuck. And so this David coming back is a way for David to save his dad and help him process the loss of his son.
Yeah, that's a powerful story there. It's something I could get behind. I mean, to be honest, new father myself, so as many in the audience may know, but for those who don't, yeah, that would be why. I might be a little biased there, but
right. I mean, I think that's one of the things that like makes a story like this special, is it's obviously got some pretty universal themes. I think, obviously there are instances where people don't have their dad or what have you, but I think that everyone can relate to loss of a parent or the loss, like you can only imagine the loss of a child, right? Like,
right. It's not natural.
It's one of those things that speaks to everyone, where you kind of look at that, it vibrates, right.
Yeah.
So
me and my wife lost a son before we had Alexander, so hits particularly. And I lost my own dad at a young age, so it's like both burning at both ends there. So it's like, yeah, this story was definitely made for me, I'll just say. So we'll probably add it to our list of things to get whenever we get the chance.
I appreciate it. Always good to have more support. I mean, like, I appreciate you having me on the channel. That's always a big thing, is getting the book out to new audiences. Talking about it is such a huge part of it, but it's always nice to obviously get a backer every now and again as well.
And as a guest of the Pritchard Pub, this also applies to guests on my other podcast, The Iron Seas. It's more like hanging out with the boys and like talking about a movie and storytelling things in general. I mean, the guest does get a little bit of a shill corner towards the end too, but it's more
Of
like
course.
reviewing and stuff.
Just hanging out and shooting the shit, having a good time.
Yeah, they'd probably love to have you one of these days. And I mean,
I'm always down. So I got into doing comics because for a very long time, I would say about like 3 or 4 years, I was doing freelance industry journalism. I started off doing reviews and stuff like that with Movie Pilot. I worked for Heroic Hollywood for a little under a month. That was miserable. And then I had my own blog for a while, and then I got into writing for a company called Up Your Geek when they were kind of starting out. They've kind of fizzled out at this point, but like for a while they were starting to build up some momentum, and I was one of their like launch writers. And that was a good time. Got to do a lot of movie previews, op-eds, reviews of indie books. And that's like really how I got introduced into the independent scene. Was at the time I had the EIC was like, hey, I know that you're starting to try and do your own book. Here's some indie book reviews. It'll be good for you to get these contacts and get to know people. And then on top of that, I mean, we could always use this as more content for the channel, for the blog. So I was like, all right, yeah, sure.
No, the comic book community is like really passionate and generally nice, at least on the surface. Before people, I don't know,
generally, I would say,
yeah.
I would say, generally, I would agree with you. There are definitely corners of it where you're just like, man, this is a giant cesspool.
But then other corners where you're just like, man, these people are giving it their all, and they genuinely care about this. Their story.
I think most people that get into this, this is an industry where it is very hard to make it lucrative. So it's one of these things where you really got to be in it because you freaking love doing it. Because when you're doing your taxes at the end. When you're doing the taxes at the end of the year, you're lucky if you're in black. Oh, right.
If you're in black, you're succeeding, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you're in black, you're doing pretty all right. If everything is paying for itself and you're good to go,
things are still moving along, right? You're good.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm not in the red. That's great news. And I think in the 5 years that I've been operating, I've been the green once. It was like my first year of operation. He goes, wait, Oden has both eyes. I want my money back. Hey man, look, my Oden spelled with an E. I gave up the letter I and got the E. That's how it works.
I sure hear that all the time. I'm sure you do.
Dude, it's something I get very frequently.
I'll spare you all the Odin symbolism for my stories then, for sure.
Dude, it's funny because I appreciate him making the I comment, because 9 times out of 10 when somebody sees my last name, oh, how's Thor doing? It's like, oh man, you're so
that's
clever.
Lame. Yeah, that's lame. You gotta make a real reference, man. Yeah.
Oh man, congratulations! You've watched a Marvel movie in the past 10 years. Congrats.
Let's talk about how he climbed Yggdrasil, hung himself on his own spear to attain the knowledge of the runes, which was a magic he had no control over yet. So he's that ambitious. Pluck out his own eye. Yeah.
I am probably the biggest Zack Snyder detractor you will ever meet, but I will say this: Twilight of the Gods released today on Netflix. And that shit was amazing. I binged all 8 episodes.
What is it? I'll watch it. I got Netflix.
Twilight of the Gods. It's up on Netflix. It's Zack Snyder's take on Norse mythology.
Oh, base.
And it's pretty damn good. I feel awful giving that man any credit for anything because he's one of the most pretentious people I've ever met, and God knows he doesn't need more ego going into his head.
Two things. Dawn of the Dead, 300. It
I
sucks,
mean,
but it's true. It sucks.
I mean, 300 was enjoyable. I'm a huge history guy, and like the Greco-Roman period and everything like that is my specialty.
Oh
so
yeah.
I have some severe problems with 300, but it's an enjoyable film. I also felt, I also felt he did a very good job with Watchmen. I feel like I feel like, you know, the end he made the ending of Watchmen make way more, like his change to the ending of Watchmen makes way more sense than giant space squid. Like Alan Moore is a genius and everything, but I do think that, you know, framing Dr. Manhattan by the end makes way more sense.
Yep. That's what the setup is, right? Kind of, or at least that makes sense with the setup.
But what, like, as I said, like, pretty much everything that he's done since when he took over for doing films from DC up till the present, outside of those projects, has been just dog shit. And he talks about his films like they're the most complex, high concept versions of anything possible, and he's just the most pretentious dude ever. So I hate stroking the guy's ego. But Twilight of the Gods,
I know what you mean.
Good.
He's like, if you don't like me, then that means you like, what is it? That means you like, what is it called? Source groups, or like,
yeah. Well, he's like, if
focus
if
groups.
You support me, you support focus groups, and I'm like, focus groups aren't a bad thing, you dipshit. Like,
sometimes
all that,
they're good, yeah.
Like, most of the times I feel they're good. It's like, hey, let's get a group of people from completely different backgrounds, stick them in a room, have them watch something or eat something or this, that, the other, and get their opinion on it. That just seems like a smart customer service thing. Like,
I think I was thinking of the opposite, where it's like when you have like one director of like diversity and inclusion or something.
Yeah, but like,
that's like, you got to change it.
That's not what a focus group is. What a focus group is that you send out, like, because I've been a part of focus groups. The way that it is you have these people that will fill out surveys online and let people know what their interests are. And then they'll keep track of you all in a database. And then occasionally you get an email, but like, hey, are you available to do a focus group for this? And you're just like one random person in a crowd of like 10, 15, 20 people that gets shown a product, right? And so like I've done focus. I've been in a focus group for a couple of movies. That's awesome. They do make you sign an NDA when you go in.
It's the entertainment equivalent of a jury. It's like jury duty.
That's effectively what it is. But you get paid for it, and you sign an NDA.
Yeah.
So I would never be able to let you know what movies that I was in a focus group for, but like the whole point is that they get people from completely different demographics, some of them targeted specifically for the products, others not, to try and see, hey, does this movie hit key demographics? And that's just solid business. Like,
if you got the money for that, why not? Like, just get it's really just getting a few more opinions, really. That's
pretty much. It's like, hey, what is the general audience going to think about this?
Yeah.
And that's effectively what Zack Snyder hates, is like, oh man, somebody gets shown my work and gets to tell me that it sucks or not. Oh, yeah. That's all that tells me, is that
he was making it sound dirty. He was making it sound dirty, like it was like what I said, like the director of whatever fake title you want to insert here.
No,
he was making it sound dirty like that.
That's how all these, like, because he's like, oh, but it's such a corporate thing. It's like, it's a corporate thing for a reason. It's smart
like
business.
Good business. Yeah, it's good business.
Like,
you're an idiot, buddy.
It's like, hey, that's like saying, like, hey, do you think that we should pay attention to customer service surveys? Like, if you went and you put out a survey for everybody that left a Zack Snyder film and they all said, hey, this is a piece of dog shit, should you listen to all of that, or should you just discard it?
reviews are just a big focus group. Like that's what
Yeah.
this is a slippery slope to. Is like
Pretty much, man.
it's objectively good because I say so. Yeah.
And like that's the whole thing is Zack Snyder's like and then he goes around and talks about it. It's like, yeah, I just show the way that I get feedback is I get a group of my friends together and I show them my films and then they let me know what they think of it. It's like, that is a focus group in and of itself.
And it's of your friends, so it's not an accurate
B,
focus
it's
group.
it is not an impartial one. Every single one of them is going to kiss your ass because they're your friends.
Yeah. They want you to make their movie or whatever, yeah.
But like, oh man, what a freaking joke.
I know.
I despise, like, I genuinely do not like him. And it's crazy because I actually used to be a big Snyder defender. The moment I turned was when it was during like I think it was like the 5th anniversary showing of Batman versus Superman, the Ultimate Edition, where he got asked about like the Batman killing thing, and he had this entire meltdown where he was just like, you may want your heroes not to do all this bad stuff. Well, you're living in a dream world. And I was just like, all right, pause.
Yeah, he's one of the probably one of the leading cavemen behind the whole, like, I don't know what it is. Like, it's one thing to be like grimdark or morally ambiguous at times for the sake of the story, but there's,
you know what he is, AC? He is a emo kid working at Hot Topic that thinks that everything that has any sort of optimism or anything like that is just childish and naive and doesn't do anything except for and is just a nihilist at heart. Like that's what Zach is. And like that's what he is. He's just this edgy teenager. And like he thinks that he's the smartest guy in the room. It's like, well, actually, if you pay attention to this, the symbolism that I'm trying to evoke here is, Jesus on the cross and this, that. I was like, no, Zach, we understood all of that. You were about as subtle as a brick with it. Like, you're not being clever. Everyone saw this and knew it. And it always blows my mind because you'll have like some Snyderheart go, oh man, what a genius. What a genius this is. Look at this cinematography. It's like, it's not really like, it's not though. Like, it has the subtlety and nuance of a brick. Like, if he was a good filmmaker, this wouldn't be like this would be an actual revelation. But like, it's not even remotely like when he was talking about, oh well, the Martha scene's all about humanizing Superman so that Batman can feel like he's Joe Chill, and people are like, oh man, that's so brilliant. It's like, yeah, we got that from when it originally happened. It was handled ham-fistedly and the dialogue was shit. That's why it was a meme for 6 years. Like, you just don't understand the symbolism of Martha. Oh god.
Yeah.
I swear. Dude, that was always the thing that fucking killed me, is like the moment that you would try to talk to any of these people, you just don't understand. Motherfucker. Yes, I do understand. The real Superman would be disappointed. Absolutely. The real Superman would look at the way that he was portrayed in there. Like, if Superman was a real person and he had to sign off on like likeness rights and everything like that, he would have seen Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman, looked at these things, looked at Zack Snyder, is like, this is what you got from everything that I do? I can't sign off on this.
Yeah.
Especially, look at how you treated my dad. You made my dad an asshole. No. Yeah. Go back to the drawing board.
He's super pretentious, and like the Defenders, there is something there to the things like cinematography and whatever, but that doesn't. It's not a credit. Yeah, it's not a credit to like his writing on a deeper level.
He is very much a person where, like, I think that if you meet Zack Snyder, you don't even need Zack Snyder. You need Zack Snyder's visual team. You need his costumer. You need his cinematographer.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
Like, you need the people that build the atmosphere on Zack Snyder's work. Hell, even his casting people. All of those people that work for him, those guys are great. Like, I am convinced that like the people who made Ben Affleck's original Batman costume in BVS are like the only people that will ever be able to pull off a live action Captain America costume where he's got like the scale mail and the cowl with the wingtips on it. Like, and I want to see that shit. I'm a huge Captain America fan. Like, that is on my bucket list. I hope someday Marvel puts that into a movie where it's not just a gag during like First Avenger.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to see a legitimately fantastically done comic accurate Captain America suit in a live action Marvel movie. But you fundamentally don't understand. I'm more forgiving of Man of Steel. I am more forgiving of Man of Steel as well, because there are some great moments. I really do think that the first flight sequence is one of the best sequences ever done, and how Cavill portrays the joy of feeling flight for the first time and everything like that was great.
And Dragon Ball Z live action, right? That's what we're talking about here. Yeah.
That's literally what it devolves into. It's like a and like that's, I think the biggest problem here is that you have a Superman that it compromises his moral code right off the jump, and there's no consequence for it. There doesn't seem to be anything. You don't understand the symbolism of the camera he uses with a crack in the lens. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't think anybody understood that one. Yeah.
So Tim McKay says, I don't really understand the hate for a Man of Steel. Here's the deal. Funnily enough, when I was growing up, I did not like Superman. I thought that he was a boring character. I didn't like him. Man of Steel was the first time that I watched something that was Superman related. I was like, oh man, there might be something more to this character. And so I started reading Superman comics. And the more that I read Superman comics and then went back and watched Man of Steel, the less I liked Man of Steel.
Right.
Because that's the thing, is that at the end of the day, Man of Steel is a good Superman story if you've never read a Superman book. But the problem is that if you actually know this character and love the character, Man of Steel is completely disingenuous. It fails Clark Kent on pretty much every single level.
Yeah.
John Kent is a fucking disaster in that movie. Mm-hmm. Like between, the whole maybe you should have let the bus full of kids drown scene, or like the fact that his death is something that Clark could actively have prevented without causing a scene and making anyone suspicious. Right. Like all of these things were technically possible, and he just says, "Nah, man, just let me die." Like this is
the person who Superman, who is borderline Christ-like with his morals. Let's be honest. Like he's an idol.
I would say more Moses-like, especially given
Moses.
Like given the fact that he was created by two suburban Jewish kids from Ohio,
and his dad. My point: his dad is who he got all these ideals from, right?
Yeah,
he raised him. That's
that was the whole thing. Is that Clark Kent is the moral foundation for who Superman is. Yes, Clark Kent is a good person, but the whole point of even why Earth is chosen by Jor-El, if you look back at like when they introduced this concept into it, was the potential for good on Earth, and specifically in the rural area of the United States, where there's this Protestant work ethic, and there's the do good unto your neighbor kind of mentality of that old world. Like that was the whole point. And so he's raised up in this whole thing where he sees the potential for good in everyone, and like this is to a fault. Like probably one of my favorite Superman moments in anything is it's technically two moments, and they're in the same book. In All-Star Superman, there's this beautiful moment where like Superman goes to Lex Luthor and is like, look, man, you won. I'm dying. You still can save the world. you can still do this. And he's literally telling him, like, I will do everything in my power to get you out of here if you promise to help people. And rather than listen to Superman, he spits at Superman's face through like the glass. And then at the very end, when Lex has had Superman's powers for a bit and the super serum's about to wear off and he starts to see the world through Superman's eyes, he sees how everything's connected. And he starts to like yell at Superman, and he says, I could have saved the world. I could have saved the world if it weren't for you. And Superman replies like, you could have saved the world this entire time. You chose not to. You chose to go against me just because of your own insecurity. And Lex is like, you're right. And just gives up. Like that's the thing is that even when facing the guy who is technically responsible for his death, he gives him an opportunity for redemption. And that is Superman. And if you can see that Superman, or even the Superman from the end of Superman versus the Authority, where he gives the speech about living in about like him fighting for a dream world to come true one day. If you watch or read any of those things and think that version, that character is the same one depicted in Zack Snyder's films, whether it be in Man of Steel or Batman versus Superman, you're full of shit. Because that's not the character that Zack Snyder sets up. And I think that's the big problem, is it's like Zack Snyder made something that looked really cool, but completely missed the point and the mark.
Like I said, live action DBZ is like,
that's exactly what it is.
And if you're going to talk about Superman, then you have to at least acknowledge his dad if you talk about Superman, because like 100%. I said, that's where his morals come from.
John is such an integral part, and like he plays an integral part to Man of Steel, but you see how John handles raising Clark, and he's kind of a dick. Like, yes, no, like I think that the biggest tragedy of the DCEU is having a guy with the natural charm and charisma of Henry Cavill playing Superman and not being able to use any of it on screen.
Yeah, he's like, actually act Henry Cavill instead of acting like yourself. I want you to actually be a different person. It's like normally that makes sense, but
that's the thing that's just so crazy, is he's just this, like, you see him on interviews and everything, he's just this very charming, warm dude that just tries to do right by people and cares about everything that he does. And it's just like, why not just take that and put that on screen and just put him in a Superman costume? It's not fucking hard.
That's why you hired him.
But like, I mean, at the end of the day, that's one of the big reasons why it failed. Now, you know, I am excited about James Gunn's Superman movie. I know that people have been bitching about set photos, but like, set photos are like, this is the absolute worst that this is ever going to look. And when all of those suits and everything are touched up in post-production and everything, I think everything's going to look sick. And pretty much every insider that's gotten to read this script has said that it's fucking incredible.
We got a good taste of what the set photos look like compared to the real movie because of how viral the Deadpool set photos were.
Yeah,
I mean, went viral, and we got to compare. So.
Like at the end of the day, yeah, the stuff during the Deadpool Wolverine stuff, like, yeah, you see the set photos and then you see what the live action movie is. There's night and day difference.
Oh yeah.
Like,
for sure.
like you cannot judge a production based off of its set photos. You just can't. I mean, dude, The Flash was a terrible movie, but like Supergirl, when you looked at the set photos of Supergirl, her suit had her abs stitched into it. It looked awful. It looked genuinely terrible.
Yeah, yes.
In the movie, it looks fantastic. like
Well, there's a lot of post and editing and angles, and yeah.
like and like that's the whole problem. Is it's just like you cannot judge a movie by set photos. You just can't.
So my
Like,
takeaway from all this, really quick at the half an hour mark here. My takeaway from all this, you're very well read, and if not, you
yes,
are knowledgeable on the subject, which
I would say so. Yes.
leads me back into this. What do we got here? Holy crap! What just popped up on the screen? I don't know what this is. What is
Okay,
this?
so this is the Embrace 2. This is the second chapter of our book, The Embrace. For those who were not here at the beginning of the chat and may have missed the pitch, this is a story about a grieving father who, in the wake of his son's death, is about to take his life in an act of desperation when his son's ghost stops him and they reunite in an embrace. The dad gets a vision of what happened that night through his kid's eyes and comes to in a super suit powered by his son's ghost. So together they are this spectral superhero going out after his son's killers to bring them to justice, called The Embrace. And so at this point in the story, the Embrace has been kind of going around and stirring shit up, doing superhero stuff, going after this gang that's behind a lot of the stuff with David's death. And they're getting stuff done, but they're also kind of shaking some trees, and the Alexandria Police Department is having to reopen the investigation into Clarence's son's murder. And Clarence is now a primary suspect because he's been doing all this stuff as the Embrace, and there's a bunch of evidence that's leading back to him now. So the big question is he going to have a obstacle in the Alexandria Police Department? And then on top of that is, as he gets closer and is dealing with this gang, he is being put on this one-way track to Strangle, who is kind of like the big bad of the series. And so they have their first fight in this issue, and it's a very fun issue. I don't mean to toot my own horn, but like this is a fantastic book, and it's going to be very hard to top it.
Yeah, I was gonna say I saw there's one of these covers stood out to me. This one right here. This one really
Rini did such a great job.
Dude with the tendrils. So okay, so my takeaway here is it's like Danny Phantom, Venom, and the Punisher. Am I close?
Not the Punisher, actually. So okay. One of the really fun things about this book is, David, the son, is an 8-year-old kid who had loving parents and everything like that took care of, he is not a vengeful ghost. He is there to save his dad. There is a dynamic that is explored in this book between the concepts of justice and vengeance. And David is there to help his dad process grief, not to turn his dad into a killer.
Yeah.
And so they're bringing his killers to justice. They're bringing them to the law and everything like that. It's way more Spider-Man than it is Punisher. And in fact, there's even this one dynamic where, David the son used to sneak read his dad's comic collection. And the big hero that you'll hear them talk about, especially in the first issue, is the Astonishing Arachnatine, right? So it's the whole point is that, they're getting to be a superhero together. And that's kind of fostered out of this love of the things that they bonded over.
So yeah, now that you mentioned the Spider-Man thing, I resisted the urge to say Spider-Man because it seemed like the obvious thing, but I'm glad that I wasn't too far. Not the Punisher though. That was probably a mislead.
It's one of those things that when you hear that you're going after a bunch of child killers, you assume someone's getting curb stomped. It is not an unsafe assumption, and especially when you look at the design and see how spooky and dark it is, you would expect this guy to be an anti-hero. like but like this is one of the cool things about the embraces. I think that there is one of the things that separates it from the stories that it's similar to, which, like, you know, for me, my stories of inspiration for this were things like, you know, James O'Barr's The Crow and Robert Kirkman and Todd McFarlane's Haunt. But like the thing that really separates it is that this has actually got a very optimistic worldview in and how it's handled. You know, David's not going to allow his dad to mire the person he was before David died. Like, the whole point is trying to preserve this person that, in all accounts, in David's eyes, was his hero.
So that's kind of hanging a lantern on the natural plot armor that all protagonists possess.
Yeah,
I like that too. Not to get all Zack Snydery symbolism on there. I mean, I'm a strong supporter of symbolism. Don't get me wrong. Not to a gay extent like Zack Snyder, you know. And I don't mean like homosexual. Yeah. I don't mean like homosexual. I mean like.
I gotcha. I get like just like to a stupid degree.
Like, yeah, like, it's laid on thick and obvious. Yeah.
Speaking of homosexuals, how's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Good timing. I come in. We're talking about homos anyway.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I mean, you're coming in shirtless, like you come in looking all buttered up and everything.
Sir, take that buttered up. Excuse me.
Buttered up.
Oh, I thought. Okay. But yeah, dude. No, I'm looking at the design. I'm like, I almost want to vote for the big guy. He looks sick, dude.
Oh, Strangle. Yeah, he's a beast. His fight with the Embrace in this book is fucking nuts. Like, it's a multi. It has multiple layers. The fight is pretty insane. More Mothra symbolism. You got it, man. I'll do my best.
I think he wants you to sing the song like from the old like 1980s movie.
You don't want me to sing that. I already don't have a natural for singing, and I'm sick. So like my normal off-key shenanigans will just be increased in gratingness by the fact that my voice is all gargly and awful. So
in my early 20s, I got bronchitis for a while, and I recovered fairly quickly. But for about 2 weeks after, I sounded like Christian Bale speaking with an American accent. And there's
how it goes.
It was more like this, and I just couldn't talk it. It was like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
I invited Oden on to the Iron Seas at some point. By the way,
I'm down.
This is my co-host Kahuna, and this one right here is Bat Sauce is one of the other co-hosts.
It's Bats is the homosexual one, if you're wondering.
And he's
our little dolphin boy.
I don't know, man. You're the one that showed up in here shirtless.
I'm Hawaiian, bro. It's in my blood, brother.
That's fair. No homo. That's fair. Yeah. That's fair. And it's past
Emily's
bedtime.
I guess we'll give you a pass on it. It's all good.
Yeah. It's obviously past Emily's bedtime as well. That's
for sure. He was up late last night, man. I'm like, hey, man, you doing all right? Your wife gonna have to like help you get to bed? And he's like, shut up. It's great, man. It's great.
But what I'll do is I'll play the video here. We got about
sounds 20, good. I'm down.
20, let me know if you guys can hear it.
Yeah.
Hear it?
Okay. Maybe mute everything else.
Good.
Yeah, this song has no right slapping as hard as it does.
Beast.
Yeah, it's a pretty fantastic trailer. I'm not even gonna lie. Like,
dude, it's good. It's good, dude.
Like it. So if anybody if you're like an indie comics guy, or if you just need like any sort of like trailer or video done, good stuff. Just set up a video thing, and it's incredibly inexpensive. Like that trailer cost me like maybe $100.
Oh, not bad at all. Yeah.
Like absolutely fantastic. Very quick turnaround. I gave him all of the stuff that he requested. He had the first draft of the trailer to me within 24 hours.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
I love the video effects too. It just it kind of gives motion to the comic as well, which 100%. Obviously the comic looking good is kind of a prerequisite for that.
Wait, did somebody say good stuff?
Down in the kitchen where the palm trees sway, and chef good stuff smokes all day, serving up pets.
Yes, good stuff is good stuff.
Not bad, dude, not bad.
Yes, but yeah, like you know, Dean James has really crushed it in the art on this book. Like, you know, the first book was actually his first comic ever, and he has grown so much since then, and it's insane seeing the level of ability he's bringing to this book by comparison. It's like night and day. And then we have a new colorist on the series as well. On the first book, we had Paul Billick, who I think did a very solid job, but the color palette was a bit darker. On this book, we had Eugen Betivu.
Yeah,
and
there's a bit more color pop in this one. Yeah.
Oh, dude, it prints so well too. Like we had a second chance Kickstarter that we did back at the beginning of the summer, back in like May, June timeframe. And so we did an edition of the first book that had the 6-page preview of book 2. And like when you're looking through the book and you're seeing the art on the first portion of it that's colored by Paul and everything, and then you flip the page and see Eugen's colors, you're just like, holy shit, this is like on a whole other level.
So he just flops that color on your forehead, basically, right?
Yeah, I think one of the big things is that like Paul's colors looked very good on the digital form and what have you, but because of how dark they were, they printed a little bit muddy, in my opinion. Like, yeah, nothing against him. Yeah. He did a great job, but like it's one of those things where I like whenever you look back at a book, you start to like notice its inherent flaws, and that was definitely one of the ones. First book, and like I know that Dean and I have talked about going back at some point and like completely redoing the first book because his art's grown a lot. We have a new colorist. Like there's a lot that can be done, but like
100%, yeah.
But yeah, this is our campaign.
That is something that people don't always think about at first. There's a couple comics that I've read, especially a few indie comics where on digital they're fine, but on print the colors are a little.
Oh, dude, it makes such a big difference, and it's crazy because I had someone warn me about that when we were doing the book. It's like, hey, like this looks really good. Have your colors like brighten up the colors a bit because like that's not going to print as good as you think it is. And I was like, yeah, what are you now?
It's fine.
And well, they apparently knew what they were talking about.
After it's like, maybe I didn't have it all figured out yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's doing this from the comics game and doing it as like a single entity without like the profession, without having the assets of like a big name publisher and what have you. It really does. Everything falls on you. And so you learn a lot fast.
I'm always curious to see how people like create advertisements for their comics and the like. It seems like there's kind of 3 basic categories. One is like the talking head, like we'll slowly show panels while we talk about the making of the comic or the inspiration.
That's like the worst way to go about it, in my opinion.
I agree. Yeah.
Because like the whole people are, especially nowadays, where like people are kind of bored of the promo show format. They want more like people just shooting the shit and hanging out. so it's just fun. You know, it's just having a video where you're just like a talking head, I think is like the worst thing you could possibly do. I think that one of the worst trailers I saw though was I was on a Peter Samedi show where he was doing his rapid fire pitch show where it's like you have 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes to pitch your book. And this guy was like, yeah, I'm just going to play my trailer. And it was like literally a motion comic of this guy's the guy's preview. And it was, and this thing was like 15 minutes long. Peter got like 5 minutes in, had it pause and goes, dude, I told you at the start of this, you had 5 minutes. Like, and that included your trailer time. I said that multiple times. Like, what were you thinking?
It's a blunder for sure. Yeah, I like the trailer we did. I helped AC make for his comic. I liked the way he did it. He kind of had basically like kind of like yours, like the music video kind of thing, showing a bunch of panels and different things about the comic. But the one that I helped him do was basically I read a small portion of it. He added music. He fixed my voice, and it came out so good. I like. I don't know. I like more creative stuff. Like obviously certain. Yeah,
you got a real mean orc voice. It's pretty great. Good orc voice. And then you detune it just a little bit, add a lot of bass, like over bass it a little bit, and it's just like dope. It's like awesome. Yep.
Yeah, this is what we want.
Yeah. But yeah, man, this is great. I think I'm gonna learn from your campaign here in regards to you offer the digital with basically everything. Which
so
I might do that too. I think that's
the reason why I do this. Outside of Kickstarter, digitals don't really sell anywhere else.
Nope.
But that being said, whenever you look at a Kickstarter, every tier above the digital tier comes with the digital, which brings an extra layer of value because one, it means that if somebody wants to have this cover and put it in a frame and never touch it, they have a way to read the book.
Yep. Or for reviewers, it's an easy way to get high HD images up from the comic to talk about.
And like that's but like that's the whole thing is that I always make sure that there is that every physical copy of the book comes with a digital copy of it for that specific reason. It's also good for reviewers, as you said. Like reviewers can, when you send the digital tiers out early, that allows them to get their reviews out faster so that they can have their review ready for when they get the book, and then they can do an unboxing video and then just talk about the book and do like a full-on review.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
either that or do the awkward thing I do, which is wait till the book comes out physically, take janky sideways pictures of the actual comic, and then do it that way.
I do still do digital tiers on like Kickstarter because they will sell on Kickstarter. But Indiegogo, no, nobody does that.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm keeping that philosophy when I go on to fund my comic.
And so is this the second issue that you're selling right now? Is just catch
so
up?
this is the second book, and our featured tier is our catch-up tier. So it's literally like, hey, you missed the first book, here you go. You can buy book 1 and you get book 2 and you can pick whatever cover of book 2 you'd like. And then the version of book 1 you are getting is actually like a very special cover. We've got the Joel Gomez Virginia Victims Assistance Network cover. And so this cover, $5 of it $5 of each purchase goes towards the Virginia Victims Assistance Network, and they host support groups for homicide survivors. So effectively, the loved ones of homicide victims. Like it's an incredible organization, and very happy to be working with them.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And plus, like, I'm gonna trust someone like that well over most of the time when people run charities. I'm like, I know that charity. It's not legit, dude.
It's like a state centralized thing. Like it's literally for the state of Virginia. So it's not like, you know, it's not like it's overly large and you can't really account for where it's going.
Yeah, for sure, dude. It's like I was there on Maui after, like, the day after the fire, and I can tell you what happened to all those supplies that people were donating for.
I don't even want to know. It's probably egregious and make me angry.
Everything that people got over there for 2 weeks was given by individuals running it over.
Yeah,
nothing. All the organizations, not a nothing. But yeah, no need to get into that, man. But yeah, no, I love that there's a charity attached, man, and your comic looks really sick, dude. The art, the story is intriguing. I'm intrigued for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And yeah, we got about 8 minutes left or so. You got any like last minute things you want to say, Odin?
I will say that on this campaign, if you scroll down, we actually have the preview of the next 9 Realms book that will be done after the Embrace 2. We have a 12-page preview available for purchase. That's $10, and that includes your shipping if you're in the domestic United States. And so this is our 12-page preview for Elysian Fields Reborn. Elysian Fields was the first that you actually just scrolled past it. Right there.
Right.
So
sick.
Elysian Fields was the first series that I did when I came in doing books. I had stopped doing it for a bit because I just didn't feel like there was the traction there. But upon having a bunch of people ask me when I was going to do the next one and seeing the response that it had gotten on Webtoon, I decided, okay, well, if I'm going to continue doing Elysian Fields, I want to start completely from scratch and apply everything that I have learned. And so I went back completely, took the original script, beefed it up a good deal, reformatted things. Like the entire second half of the script is completely different. And get a completely new art team and have a much stronger, more professional and distinct style. And so that's what we did. So for $10, you get this new 12 story pages preview in the new 8.5 by 11 prestige format with a gorgeous wraparound sketch cover of our main character Achilles dragging Hector's body around the city of Troy.
Nice.
So like, if you want, I can even hold on. Let me pull this bad boy up so that way you can get a better look at it. This is the sketch cover.
What did you say? Sorry.
There we go.
Perfect.
There we go.
So this is by our
This
is by our series artist Will Juarez, who did a beautiful job with these pencils. It's absolutely fucking stunning.
Now that looks like an armor built by the gods. There we go.
I mean, yes, like that was precisely what I was going for. And Achilles is an absolute beast in this book. I'm very excited for people to get to see him. And this 12-page preview does a very adequate job of showcasing how Achilles is going to be in this story.
Hell yeah!
Real quick, weird connection. The wall in the back and the buildings. It looks like some of the illustrations that Tolkien did himself for his for the Lord of the Rings. If you guys have ever seen his own illustrations.
Yes, but and like it's funny because like Tolkien was a huge antiquities guy, like and studied a lot of epic poetry. So like, there's probably a reason for that. But
well, if you look at Aragorn from the books, there's a lot. There are similarities between him and Achilles, actually. Like in the book, he's not reluctant to take the throne. He's like, I will be king and I will be the best. It's like, oh, right, cool. No, that's great, man. Yo, Evele, what's up?
Oh, But yeah,
no, that panel looks great, man, and the
Yeah,
body on the ground as well. That's
yeah.
that face really. That's about right. I've seen people with faces
there.
like that. It's
it's like, yeah, this is fun to put together, and the book is just drop dead gorgeous. We've got a really strong creative team on it. I'm very excited because this fall, like in November, December timeframe, we're going to start actually cranking out the rest of the book, so that way it's ready for our March. I want to see if I can't get it done by the time we launch in March. Like that is absolutely my goal.
That's cool, dude.
Great point.
Yeah, if there's anything like any voice work or any nonsense I could do to help promote, man, just let me know.
I mean, I'll definitely let you know. Like the whole premise of Elysian Fields is like in its most simplistic form is it's Mortal Kombat with heroes of mythology. Like
that's sick.
Like effectively, the book starts off and you see Achilles' final battle at Troy. He dies, makes his way down into the underworld, and ends up getting unwittingly recruited to fight in this tournament called the Abyssal Tournament of Champions, where every single respective god of the dead puts together a team of champions from their respective cultural mythologies, pits them against each other in an arena, and the winner becomes the next Lord of the Underworld for the next 1,000 years. So,
hell yeah.
I don't want payment. I just want to help. That sounds so cool, dude.
Like Achilles is paired up with Heracles and Hippolyta.
There we go.
So like here, before I go, I'll show. Hold on. Since we're here, where are you at? There he is.
Where you at?
I'll show. This is our main cover for the book and showcases all of our characters together, fully colored and everything like that.
Bro.
Oh yeah, that's great.
It's so good.
So you got Achilles here. Here's Heracles with the Nemean lion pelt.
Thank you for not making him a scrawny guy like they did in the fucking Disney film. Thank God.
Oh, dude, he is a Hulk-sized character.
Oh, yeah.
And he fucking read the mythology. He should be. It's like on the boat, with the Argonauts. Like he rows one side and 50 men row the other. That's how it is.
One of the things, probably the thing that I'm most proud of with this design is I made the Nemean lion pelt a armored mask. So he's peering through the Nemean lion's eyes.
I was gonna say I can't see most of his face. It looks like it. Yeah, for sure.
And then you've got Hippolyta back here, and I went like a nice blend between mythology and actual antiquities, because there is a belief that the Amazons were based off of Scythian warrior women from the steppe. So I blended Minoan hairstyles and makeup with Scythian warrior armor and everything. And so she's got a steppe recurve bow, arrows, a spear, and then she's riding a mare of Diomedes, because why the fuck?
Yeah, something's wrong with her horse. Yeah, so someone should let her know.
It's a mare of Diomedes from the.
Oh no! I know. I'm just being.
I know. I gotcha. That's why it's a demonic horse.
Shout out to the Scythians.
Yeah. So in this first book, you will see the first part of their fight against Team Nergal, which is comprised of Gilgamesh, Enkidu, and the Bull of Heaven.
I'm getting some Fate series vibes from this.
There's definitely Fate took Fate Zero and Fate Apocrypha were definitely big inspirations on how I handled some of the meta of the
you're gonna get a little Journey of the West in there.
Actually, yes. Our second storyline. So when I initially did this series, our second storyline was called Pyramid Gambit, and I'm now going to push that back a good deal and have that be the closeout for the first arc. But so the second team they're going to go up against now is going to include Lu Bu, Dian Wei, and Sun Wukong.
Hell yeah.
Now it's kind of a small mythology, but Hawaiian mythology, Polynesian mythology is pretty dope, man. I'm just tossing that out.
I'm down. That's the other thing is we're going to have like one of the things that I want to do is as this series expands, I want to do like anthology books that are other brackets of the tournament that you don't get to see because like the main focus is kind of we've got our main characters here, and so we're mainly focusing on the brackets that they interact with. There's also going to be some focus on the Norse bracket because ultimately one of the big things is having the Norse and the Greek mythology brackets collide in like a massive semi-final thing. So like there's a lot of that in there, and you know, I've got a pretty cool team planned out for the Norse bracket with
every Age of Mythology player from childhood is like just creaming themselves right now.
Take my money.
So for the Norse one, I've got Beowulf, Siegfried, and
Ragnar. Oh no, that's a good choice. Good choice.
Yeah. Beowulf. Shout outs.
Yep, Beowulf, and then there's going to be a Arthurian team, and it's going to be like I'm going like full on Welsh. Like it, are you
gonna have Cernunnos? You gotta go a little French for that though too. If you're
because they're going to be I'm blanking on the god that they're going to be associated with, but like it's like the Welsh god of the dead, and so it's going to be like you're going to have Arthur, but he's going to have like I can't even pronounce the Welsh name for Excalibur, but like or whatever.
In that same vein, you can toss the story of Cernunnos in there, and like the idea of the Summer King and the Winter King. So like the Summer King would be like a nature elemental essentially, and the Winter King is like Jack Frost, right?
Yeah.
So you can have a lot of fun.
So
with
the
that.
Winter King is Santa Claus, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Essentially, what he is now. Yeah, for sure.
Like there's lots of good stuff to do. Like I have tons of really fun plans. Gonna dip into some Persian mythology with the Shahnameh. I've got lots of fun plans for this series.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. That's right up my alley. Yeah.
I love the way your other book looks, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of excited for this one.
Yeah.
Like this is. I mean, this comes out. We're gonna be doing the campaign March 28th, 2025, the 5th year anniversary of my first Elysian Fields campaign releasing. So like it's right around the corner. And as I said, you can purchase the freaking 12-page preview on the Embrace, and it will ship out in the next month or so. And it's literally $10, no additional shipping charge.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just a no-brainer, man. I mean, it's no-brainer. That's great.
Yeah, like I tried to make it as appealing as humanly fucking possible.
Oh yeah.
So.
I mean, you just show them this image. I think they'll be right there.
You don't even know. So at the back of that book, you get to see all the variant covers that we have coming for that campaign, and we've got some pretty big names.
Ooh, nice
on that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, for me, I have a whole bunch of comics that scripts and stuff that I've been working on and getting commissioning concept art from people I know, and I'm like, all right, now I just need to find that up and coming like Filipino artist who's really good but no one knows about. And
yeah.
That's really the big challenge, man. Is just finding the right art game. And like at the end of the day, the other big thing is from an expense standpoint, if you want a book that is going to be able to compete on the shelf with like a mainstream art book, you're looking at no less than $250 a page between like pencils, inks, and colors and letters.
Yeah.
No less than $250 a page. It's not inexpensive.
No, not at all. Yeah. Well, sweet.
But
dude, I'm excited, dude.
Kahuna, did you have any last things you wanted to say before we head out?
I mean, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it. Oden, I didn't want to take up I didn't want to take away from your show time. I'm looking forward to those projects, man. If you had to check something out that I've done recently, we did have the Iron Age special talking about Yumi and the Nightmare Painter with Justin, his wife, and Joe Bats or Bat Sauce, and that went pretty well. So we have the special out, and a short just came out. Making fun of the way that the female narrator, as good as she is, she does make guys sound a little oonga boonga sometimes in her narration. And so, that's probably it, man. What about, you guys next?
Well, for those still sticking around, you're going to be rewarded with a little early preview of the narrative, the musical mini book I'm releasing tomorrow. It's based on A Memory of Mortality from my book, Mortal Descent, which is the same book that my comic is from. I took another short story from that book and adapted it into a comic. So I've been turning everything I've done.
Frankly, the best story from the book. I'll be frank.
Yeah, it's Kahuna's favorite. In my opinion, it turned out to be one of the only ones that has a hero in it. Oddly enough, I got
didn't anticipate
pretty dark with that world. It gets pretty bleak, but we'll be playing that as an outro tonight for those still sticking around. Other than that, go check out my comic and everything else. Pritchard Pub, Iron Seas, AC Pritchard on everything. What about you, Oden? Any last words?
Nope, just thanks so much for having me on, and if you're able to, back the Embrace. If not, please share the link around. Any sort of support we can get, whether it's a back or just extra eyes on, always helps.
Sweet. I'll share it around, man. It looks cool.
I appreciate it. Thank you
so much. I tossed it in the chat again too. So, yep. Thanks for coming out, guys. Appreciate you both. Enjoy this short story in under 4 minutes as our outro.
Sweet.
I had fun with it. Cheers, guys.
Peace out.
Visage was marked, scarred a deep hue. When I avoid where no light could break through, yet deep inside him there still flickered a fight. Within that hollow shell, unnaturally filled with life. Through the carnage we fled as the world came undone. His wounds told me a story of battles he'd won. But beneath every scar I sensed growing grief. Each memory buried, longing for release. He felt the weight of the past he could not recall. Yet I saw in his eye that shadows would fall. For each life he had taken, for each heart that he torn, gifted a ghost of their sorrow, a new scar he adorned. In the clamor of war, a child's lament, my cry in the darkness, his mortal descent. Defying his brothers with wrath held in his chest, he sought to protect me so he can finally rest. Just rest. Scorched country fields where shadows now creep, forgotten faces and the dreams that they keep. A fallen youth in silence now sleeps, a photograph found, a new family weeps. At we sprint the end, our despair wove a tale, when first did unleash their frigid blue gale. Survivors were slaughtered, their voices now lost, each heartbeat extinguished then reclaimed at no cost. In war's cold embrace I clung to his side, as chaos closed in, his wrath was my guide. The cries of the fallen, the orcish once blared, polished but a tiny spark flared. My lone wolf was here with the promise to save, and my stoic protector was never afraid. Against his own kind, he spilled blood and broke bones to keep me secret, safe and warm. He turned on his kin, a defiance untold, as nights of ash loomed with blades glowing cold. With flare walls of ash lit beneath the church's light, when the heavens wept blood on the last belted night, I clung to his side, my spirit unbent, while the chaos above sang a song of lament. To save a dear child, a promise was made, for Ishmael was lost, forgotten to flame. I watched as he faltered, yet rose from the pain. pain. In spirit ignited, he was fire and rain. Of chaos, when all hope seemed lost, he stood as my savior despite the great cost. To unite mankind, from shadows we rise, in the name of the wolf, beneath arcade skies.